Hi guys, the Winter Update 2025 test server has just finished. We're not likely to see any more changes, although Tipsoft did say that, maybe they could tweak some numerical things. But largely speaking, the test server has wrapped up. So I want to do a video where I talk about the Winter Update. I talk about my thoughts for each of the features. If you weren't fully following the test server or the update teasers, you'll find out everything about the update in this video. And yeah, I'll share my thoughts about every single feature. Spoiler alert, I would say in summary, this may well be one of my favorite updates of all time. I think there's loads of really awesome, long awaited stuff in here. So I think it's a really, really great update. And finally, I will be adding timestamps to the video. So if you're interested in any particular section of the winter update and my thoughts on that, you can just use the timestamps to skip ahead. So let's get right into it. First of all, we have the spell opacity feature. This basically means being able to turn off other players' effects, your own spell effects, and creature spell effects. This is an amazing feature overall. During the test server, they've also added a fourth option, which is spell effects in boss rooms, because it turned out that, most players would like to turn down the creature effects generally, but they still like to see those effects in the boss rooms to see what's going on when the monsters are casting particular spells, etc., etc. So that was a big, good development throughout the test server. Other than that, an amazing feature. We've long been waiting for this. It makes places like Ferryway and Mazaran Seal finally huntable. And yeah, I've played around with it. I think my personal choice for the settings will be to have my own spell effects so that I can see and get visual feedback on what I'm doing. I'll probably have that one on 100. Other player spell effects, I'll probably have like on 0. I don't really care unless maybe I'll have it on a little bit in case I'm team hunting, so that I can see when they are casting particular spells and sort of mentally keep track of when they're going to cast the spell again. Maybe so maybe you can keep down like 20. And creature spell effects, it depends where you're hunting. If you're hunting somewhere like Ferryway with loads of effects, you probably want it on 0. But also to get a bit of visual feedback and see it a little bit in the background of what's going on. For majority of respawns, I would say like 20 to 30 also makes sense, just to get a little bit of feeling for what's going on. Because when you turn it down to 0, you're losing loads of damage and you're not seeing any visual feedback why you're losing so much damage. Your health is just dropping, and it's kind of hard, sometimes surprising to see. Maybe we'll get used to that over time. But yeah, I think mine is going to be like 100, 20, 20, something like that, generally speaking. Overall, great feature. My one complaint with this is something that should have been done 10 years ago. This is such an easy feature. I'm sure in terms of dev time, this took like a week max. And this should have been done like a decade ago, okay? Other than that, it's a great feature, but it just took way too long to be implemented in the game. Anyway, moving on. Next thing we have is use at cursor position for the runes. This is also known as smart cast in other games. So basically tap the hotkey and the rune is fired exactly where your mouse pointer is. Amazing. Instead of having to double click, when you have the with crosshair option. Very, very nice. This is also actually nice for stuff like the multi-tool, for example. So you just hover over a hole, click the hotkey for the multi-tool and just use it straight away. This is also really good for ultimate healing runes for the master sorcerer. You can like have have that over the battle list and just press one hotkey. And you can even join that with the multicast, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We can have a multicast of ultimate healing rune and like GFB, so that you alternate, and you can have the cursor at the party member and just keep firing at them. So that is pretty cool. Other than that, there was also one other development here, which is hotkey to it was part of this for some reason, but it was a hotkey to target first enemy list, a battle list was added. This is again something that people have been asking for a very long time. Basically, there's a new hotkey in the settings now that you can, when you press space, normally by the default hotkey, like it cycles through the battle list, this will always target the first enemy, and it works exactly like it should. Works very, very well. This means if you have monsters sorted by ascending distance, which is like the default usually, this means you can just tap the space and you'll always have something in range. For mages, for example, if you want to be always targeting monsters with your wand that have the highest health, again, you can now list by health and just press space and you'll always be targeting with your wand the monster with the highest health to sort of make it even. For kiting as the monk or the paladin, you can always be tapping space so you're hitting something close to you. Same for the EK great change. Almost a bigger change for me than the use that cursor position. But either way, again, two excellent features, long awaited. Again, kind of my main complaint is not with the implementation, but with the fact that it took so long. Again, this is something that really should have been in the game a decade ago. But they finally got here. It's like this update, they finally, pushing out the updates that they should have done many years ago. But anyway, great stuff. Very happy to see that. So moving on, we have the multi-action button. For those of you who, haven't been following, this isn't a macro. This is simply a remapping of your hotkeys and switching the hotkeys under one button. So like you have examples here that Tipsoft provided. For example, you could have a multi-action button, which has a combo of like Fierce, Berserk, and Ground Shaker, which is Xori Ground, Xori Mass. And you can have that on like, say, F1, right? And you just press an F1, spam in F1, and it'll just cast first Fierce Berserk, then 2 seconds later it'll cast Berserk, and 2 seconds later it casts Ground Shaker. So it doesn't like cast it for you or cast it in order. It just casts whatever is available, that cooldown is available, and that's on the top of the list, right? So I don't know. It's kind of intuitive. It works pretty well, and this is not like you're gonna still have to press as many keys as you always had to press, cast as many spells as you had to. But instead of having them on the free hotkeys, previously you would need F1, F2, F3 for these. Now you can just have F1, right? So its mental load is decreased. And yeah, it feels good. There is definitely a few use cases that are very good. And I actually will be having a separate video where I share suggested multi-action hotkeys for every vocation, because otherwise this video would take way too long and this is just a summary. So yeah, there are definitely a few use cases that are very nice and going to make playing certain vocations much more comfortable. However, few thoughts that I have here. First of all, this supports more casual play styles and maybe tricky suboptimal. So of course, if you're playing on like a Steam Deck, for example, this is like super great. Like you're going to just press one button, have your rotation. Awesome. However, this does take away a little bit of agency if you go with those multi-action buttons. So sometimes you may want to cast Xori, sometimes you may want to cast Xori Mass, sometimes as a monk, sometimes you may want to cast Chain Penance, sometimes you may want to cast Flurry of Blows. With this setup, you don't choose what's going to be cast next. The game chooses what's going to be cast next based on the cooldown. So obviously, this is sometimes going to be a little bit suboptimal. And if you want to be like, a very good player chasing those numbers, sometimes these won't be as useful for you. However, on the other hand, if it makes you more comfortable with the game and makes you play more comfortably and faster because you have this multi-action button, then that increases your experience as well. So it's something to consider. Just bottom line is this is not always going to be the best. And actually the other thing to consider is that while you will need to add some hotkeys, you'll get to remove some hotkeys. You also add new hotkeys for different variations of multi-actions. You'll want to have like a single target multi-action, a boss team, an AoE hunting multi-action, certain new multi-actions that were never possible. So it's not like this actually removes loads of hotkeys. It can remove some hotkeys, but bottom line, you'll probably end up with just as many hotkeys as you had before. You'll remove a few, you'll add a few brand new ones. And yeah, basically this is a good feature. This is definitely a welcome feature. This is if you don't want to use this, you don't have to. So you can just ignore it. You can still use everything as you wanted. And maybe you can add 2 or 3 multi-actions that will be good for your vocation to make it a little bit easier. And yeah, it works well. It's not as amazing, incredible as it may have seemed at the first glance when they announced it, I think. Still a very good feature. It's definitely going to have some good use cases, but I don't think it's going to like change the game all that massively at the end of the day, especially at the high end. I think a lot of 2K plus people who are trying to push numbers likely aren't going to be using this as much as you might expect. Anyway, I'll have a separate video, as I mentioned, for multi-action buttons for every single vocation suggestions. Moving on. Next thing, we have the bounty tasks. So we have the bounty tasks and the weekly tasks all in this new task board. I'm going to talk about the bounty tasks first. So this is a feature where you get a random rolled bounty for like 3 random monsters. You choose one, only one. You can't re-roll them through here without you can re-roll them, but you get these 3, so you have to either choose one or you have to spend a token to re-roll them. The tokens you get 1 day for free or by completing the task. Basically this is an infinite type content. You can be doing the tasks permanently. Like you do one, you get a new one. You do one, you get a new one. You can keep going, keep going, keep going. So this is an amazing, amazing feature for a variety gamers and completionists, people who like other content. This is me. If you watch my streams, if you ever listen to me talk on stream about what I like to do, I hate grinding the same spot for 3 hours every day for 6 months or 12 months for 2 years. I love changing spots. And if you're like me, this is like an amazing, amazing little feature. So you can just let the bounties decide what you're hunting today, right? Just chase the bounties. And also the bounties, it's no longer a bounty ring, by the way, it's a bounty talisman. They changed that. So now you get this item called Bounty Talisman, which goes in your trinket slot, basically, where you got your elemental protection trinkets. So it goes in there. And once you have that equipped, you get certain bonuses. You also, one of those has been taken as changed as well. It's no longer reduced damage taken. Instead, it's now life leech. So it's vampirism. It's vampirism chances, increased vampirism instead of reduced damage taken, because this scaled too hard with the reduced damage prey. So they didn't want to add another one. Anyway, so you upgrade the ring, you do the bounties, you get some points, you upgrade the rings, you get stronger and stronger against the monster in the bounty. You've got like silver and gold tasks, which randomly appear, which you have more kills for, which you get more of a reward, more points. And it's just a bit of a grind that gives you a little bit more power in the form of this bounty talisman for variety gaming for different types of creatures. Now, this is not going to be as optimal. This is not going to yield more experience than hunting. Like if you're just going hunting one of your top tier spawns, this is nowhere near going to be as efficient. Okay, this is just going to provide you different incentives and different bonuses to, progress something. Like it's basically for variety gamers like myself. I love this feature. To me, this is my favorite feature added to the game, probably since Charms and Bestiary like 10 years ago. Because again, Charms and Bestiary provided this incentive to be hunting other things that you normally wouldn't, which I love. And this is like a further take on that, which is even better because you have this like bonus ring here with a bonus talisman, which is great. Also, if you look at this one, you get chance for double Bestiary progress, which is really cool if you're a Bestiary hunter. And yeah, these bonuses, by the way, scale to 50, 50, 50, and 100%. So once you fully upgrade the talisman, you'll potentially have 50% damage against creature, 50% vampirism against extra vampirism, life leech creature, 50% loot from a creature, and 100% bestiary progress. So basically 2 kills for 1. Now, this is going to take years and years and years and years and years and years of grinding, but, getting like half of these bonuses, like 25, 25, 25, and 50, should be achievable, in like some reasonable time frame, maybe a year or two. So yeah, amazing little bonus. Now, yeah, a couple of small issues that I guess I will mention, even though I love this feature. One thing that I do worry about is that this may cause drama and invading of spawns. Like, for example, if you get like a really excellent bounty task, like for example, you get a Summer Court or Asuras, right? A gold task, which means you get a lot more rewards and you really want to do it. And Asura Mirror is taken for the next 10 hours. Asura Palace is taken. How do you complete that? You either have to just roll over it and forget it and just not benefit from that amazing task, or you just invade somebody, right? So I don't know. I do worry that there may be a little bit of drama. People like coming in, just coming in for 10 minutes to do my bounty type of deal. We'll see. I hope not. But I think there is a potential that this will be a little bit of a toxic feature sometimes. But that's all up to people, of course. Hopefully not, but yeah, something to consider. And yeah, finally, the other comment is that this is not such a big feature for somebody who is like a EXP pusher. If you're just grinding EXP every single day and that's your main focus, it's not possible to like force whatever creatures you want. So if you're hunting Ice Library every day, you're not going to get Ice Library every day in your bounties. You may get it like once every week or 2 weeks or whatever to benefit from it a little bit, but generally speaking, it's not going to be very common. There is a preferred list of creatures that you can unlock, and you can have higher odds of getting these creatures, so you can increase your likelihood of getting your Asura Mirror or your Ice Library or whatever, but it's still not going to be super often. Like, this is something to keep in mind. If you are hunting just one spawn, you're probably not going to get lots of benefit from this feature. This is more as an incentive to visit other spots, to progress your talisman, to get a little bit of extra power in that spot for that monster that you have in the task. So yeah, if you love hunting the same spot every day, this is probably not going to be that great for you. For me, this is 10 out of 10. Love it. If you watch my streams, I'm probably going to be doing bounties like forever. My stream is going to be about bounties because I love this stuff. I'm going to have lots of fun progressing my talisman. Anyway, moving on to the next one. This is the weekly tasks. This is like the sort of similar feature joined together with the bounty tasks. However, it's different. This is weekly tasks. You get up to 18 weekly tasks. You get 9 kill tasks and 9 delivery tasks. So kill tasks naturally is killing monsters. You get 9 monsters from a category of difficulty that you choose. Like easy, hard, whatever. And you get 9 delivery tasks where you have to give in 9 random items. So, and you cannot re-roll these. Like these are just rolled for you once a week on the Monday after server save, and that's it. You have no chance to re-roll them in any way that week. So you better hope you're going to get something good. And you get like experience rewards for those, which are pretty okay, not like amazing, but pretty okay. They're quite good at like very high level because they are capped at 4% of your level per task. So if you do 18 tasks every single week, that's 72% of a level per week, which, for a level 2000 plus, that's quite a lot because they don't get so many levels. It's not that big for like a level 500-600 because by hunting you get a lot more levels, but it's still a little bit of extra experience. Now, some of these will be really hard to do because you'll get some monsters that you don't hunt and you have to really go out of your way to do, and that's probably not worth 4% of a level. And the items, some of the values on some of these items were like absolutely crazy in the test server. They said they're going to do a balance pass and, even those out, so it's not so crazy. But that remains to be seen once we hit live, exactly see what those delivery tasks are like. However, I guess maybe let me summarize. The kill tasks are okay. You're probably going to my expectation of the 9 kill tasks that you get every week. If you're going for like maximum difficulty or like as high difficulty as you can do, you might do 3, 4, 5, depending on how into this content you are. I think most people won't be doing all 9. And the delivery tasks kind of similar. If you get like some easy ones, you'll do them, 10 rubber caps, whatever. It's not hard. 14 combat knives, it's not hard. But sometimes you get like 400 creature products of like a really niche creature that nobody hunts and has a low drop rate of that creature product. And it's going to be hard to get. Like even an example here, right? 179 lava fungus rings. It's pretty hard to get. If you're going to loot those solo, very, very hard. So the kill tasks, okay, not great. The delivery tasks have a big consideration in that they may have a huge impact on the economy through hoarding, as well as just removing gold from the economy, right? Instead of selling 10 rubber caps and getting a little bit of extra gold, you are instead giving those to the weekly task, and that gold, poof, disappears, right? Doesn't exist anymore in the game. So that's a gold sink. And furthermore, people will be hoarding items. Right now, anything that you think may be part of a delivery task, you're not going to sell to an NPC. You're going to keep it and hope to sell it on the market. Again, this money will never be entering the economy, even if you're just hoarding it, right? You may have it in your depot, but you're not selling it. So that money is not coming into your account. It's not joining the economy. Again, gold sink effectively, right? Less money circulating in the economy. So this may have a significant impact on Tibia coin prices, which I think is Tipsoft's goal. I would keep an eye on that because I think that the economy impact may be pretty huge. Couple other points I haven't even mentioned yet. There's a couple of other rewards other than basically the experience that you get for these, which is like the key thing people are talking about. But you also get Soul Core. I don't remember what they're called exactly, but you basically get these points which you can replace to enter the Soul Pit solo. So the difficulty of the monster in the Soul Pit does not change. So it's mostly aimed at like completing easy Soul Pit. Basically, this is going to really reduce the value of low-level soul cores like rotworms, trolls, and whatever. Because instead of doing their soul cores and having to loot it, instead you're going to have these free points through the weekly system, so you can go into Soul Pit, do those very easily yourself. So I'm happy about that because I don't like the soul core system and the toxicity it introduces with people, chasing fiends and stuff. I don't like fiend hunters very much. If you watch my streams, you probably know that. I don't like people who exclusively fiend hunt. So I think this is going to hit them pretty hard because the price of like easy soul core is basically going to drop off a cliff. So that's thumbs up for me. The other reward you get is hunting task points, kind of like the points that you get right now, and those will carry over from the existing hunting task points. Those you can still exchange for like outfits and mounts, which is fine, but also they've added wheel points that you can exchange for those points. It's going to be a lot, and it's going to take many, many years to unlock those wheel points, but you can get up to 50 50 up to 50 wheel points through this new system by doing these weekly tasks and then exchanging the points that you get for the wheel points. Now, it's going to take a long time to get 50, again, years and years and years, probably, but it should be pretty easy to get, 10 or 20 wheel points, maybe. So, people should be interested in doing this a little bit. The more tasks you do per week, the more of a multiplier on the points you get. So you are kind of incentivized to try and do like 16 tasks. 12 or 16 are like the big cutoffs for the multipliers. So you probably want to be doing at least 12 tasks every week to be getting those hunting task points, which you can then exchange for those wheel points. It's not like amazing, but it is a little bit of power. So that's basically the feature covered. From my perspective, this is okay. This is fine. Like, I am not super hyped about this. I don't think this is that exciting, but it's fine, right? It's still much better than the hunting task points that we have in the game right now. You've got a little bit of wheel points power hidden behind it. You've actually getting like some reasonable experience. Again, nothing like crazy unless you're really high level, but it's nice. And it gives you a little bit of an incentive to do something else. This delivery task is interesting because it may impact the economy in that in that Tibia coins go down in price, but it may increase the value of your hunt profit, right? Because if all the items that can be delivered to the delivery tasks are now likely to be a little bit more expensive on market by people buying them who want to complete the delivery task, right? Not high levels aren't going to be looting all this stuff themselves. They're going to be buying it off the market, then handing it into the delivery task. So this may increase the profit of like low level hunts specifically. If you're a low level hunting, gain all these creature products from these low level monsters, keep them and just sell them on the market, probably going to make a big profit. So I think it may make lower levels much better because you're going to be making more money through selling all this loot on the market. And by the way, I think the logic, the coding is that anything you can buy from an NPC will not be part of the delivery task. So you can check the items that you loot, and if it's sellable by an NPC, then it won't be part of the delivery task. So you can just sell it. I think stuff like plate armors, I think you can buy for like 1,200 GP, or something like that. Those will not be in scope of this, right? If you can buy Tipsoft doesn't want you to just buy stuff from NPC to hand in. So if you can buy something from an NPC, it's not going to be part of the delivery tasks, okay? Just keep that in mind for deciding if you want to keep something or not. Anyway, moving on, couple more things. Because this video is starting to drag on a bit. I don't want to take too long. So a couple more things. Now we're going to look at the content. We've got this Order of the Stag quest line. This is, I think, the finish or finally of the Order quest line. So, of course, we've got Cobras, we've got Falcons, we've got Lions. Now we've got Stags. It's okay. It's fine. It's a pretty easy, quick quest line. Honestly, if you know what you're doing, should be pretty quick. There is one section where you have to kill harpies and loot some items from them to hand in. So that may take a little bit longer. But generally speaking, it's okay. It's not super long. There's likely a couple of good hunting grounds, I think, aimed at like level 800 solo or about 500 to 600 team hunts. They look okay. They do tons of damage, so keep an eye on that. I think they're going to be okay. I'm not sure if they're going to be like S tier, but they're probably going to be like A tier or something. So pretty okay. And the items that you drop from the final boss, which is also a team boss, by the way. It's not as easy as all the other. It's not as easy as Scarlet, Oberon, and Droom. It's actually quite hard. You probably need like 3 to 4 people, even at high levels, to do it. But once you have enough people, it's quite easy. It's just there's a DPS check basically. So once you have enough people, enough damage, and it's easy. If you don't have enough damage, it's super hard and you just die. So something to keep in mind. You will need like 4 people to be safe. And the items that he drops, like there's some okay ones. Again, I'm not going to go through each and single one because there's no real point. You can look into that. You can look the items online. I already have them on TibiaPal.com/equipment. All of those are uploaded there, so you can see them over there. Yeah, generally okay. This is fine. Like I'm not like blown away by this content. It's fine. It's just a continuation of the quest line. Kind of boring. I hope there's no more order stuff. Hunting grounds look okay. Items are okay. There's some that are going to be good, some that are going to be okay. They're like level 350 items, so they're not really going to replace most best in slot, but they're going to be like alternatives with different protections and stuff. Anyway, move on. Final content is the Roost of the Graveborn. This is the new end game hunting ground-ish. It's level 450, so it's it falls between like Solwa and Gnome Prona, but below, like above Solwa, Gnome Prona, but below Rotten Blood. that kind of difficulty supposedly. So I haven't engaged with this too much. I haven't had a chance on the test server to like unlock these hunting grounds, so I'm not going to be able to talk about it. I've listened to other people talk about it. Like, I think the hunting grounds have some strange mechanics that we're going to figure out exactly. You know, you need like items to enter them. There's some mechanics where the difficulty of the monsters increases the faster you kill them, which kind of goes against the point of like infinite scaling game. And the results are like okay, but not really crazy. So the hunting grounds, the bosses, okay. The key thing that I guess I want to talk about here is physical damage rework, as well as the new items that you can get from this quest line. I'm not going to talk too much about the bosses and the hunting grounds. This will we'll figure this out once the content is live. So the items, the new physical items, we have, well, they're not physical items. They have like physical modifiers and stuff. But EK and Monk, they're physical. Obviously, Paladin's also physical. But for the mages, well, for mages, I guess it's physical damage from the rod. But it has like physical modifiers in it. Bottom line. Not that great for Paladin and mages is my expectation. There'll be like alternative items, but nobody's really going to be going out of their way to get them. Maybe like a Soul Bleeder alternative, but definitely not a Sanguine Bow alternative. The EK ones, I think long term, every EK will want to have, as this is the best in slot physical weapon that they're going to have. They're also like pushing elemental imbues to be added into those weapons, which is kind of, I'm not so sure that's going to happen, but it's a pretty good physical weapon for the EK. It's just, you know, physical damage not that great for the EK. And but still, I think people will want them, right? They will want to replace the destruction weapons or something if you're an EK. However, the monk weapon is really, really good as it is, because the weapon proficiency is very nice that they've added there. It actually makes this a very usable physical weapon. Now, I don't think that the monk weapon itself is overpowered. I just think it's good. It's finally a good physical weapon that you can use and hunt with. However, I think the other weapons a little bit too weak. So my personal opinion here is that the monk weapon is like the right power level for a good physical weapon, whereas the other weapons for everybody else, for the EK Paladin and mages, are a little bit too weak. So maybe, you know, long term, I'd like them to increase the power level of those. Maybe, I don't know if that's going to happen. Yeah, the only negative about the monk weapon is that its power level is hidden in proficiency 7. So this is 7 proficiency. So it's going to take a couple months to grind. And until you get that proficiency 7, the weapon is not good. Once you get the proficiency 7, it's very good. So it's basically, it kind of comes down to that grind that you need to wait until it's going to be good. And yeah, basically, yeah, the items are okay. It's nothing groundbreaking. It is good for the monk. The monk will be using the physical weapon for sure, because it actually makes physical damage good through armor penetration and physical pierce, which we can read about online as well. It's not too complicated, but you know, it works. It basically makes physical damage good. However, one other final thing that I will talk about before I finish is this point right here. So this wasn't so much advertised as a physical damage rework, but this is how people kind of took it before the update. So physical damage has been an issue in the game for a very long time, due to the way armor works, due to the fact that monsters cannot have too much weakness to physical, because then paladins, you know, break the respawn. So physical damage has been kind of forgotten for a long time. EKs don't like it, monks don't like it, other vocations, you know, mages don't like it, paladins are forced to use it. And, you know, I was hoping that there would be like a physical damage rework as part of the like maybe vocation rebalance, but it turned out that instead they just made physical weapons in this update and added some new modifiers for the physical damage, for like armor penetration and stuff, which, by the way, I've also been advocating for a long time. I thought armor penetration should have been in the game a long time ago, so it's good that they did it. However, they haven't reworked physical damage, right? What they did is they created a new powerful-ish weapon that is a good physical weapon. All the issues with physical damage as a whole still are in the game. Any weapon that is not these new best in slot level 450 weapons is still garbage. So I don't think that really fixes physical damage as a whole. It's not really a successful rework. It's just like a band-aid by creating, you know, powerful physical weapons. There you go. Now physical damage is fine. No, it's not. It's still, physical damage still sucks. It's just that you've slapped the band-aid of like a powerful weapon that you're given because it has like really good modifiers. Like and this is the thing, like the monk weapon, like it has pretty broken weapon proficiency. But the thing is, it needs to be. If it was any weaker, it still wouldn't be usable, just because of how weak physical damage as an element is. To make it work, the weapon itself needs to be really crazy, really broken, for it to be usable. which to me still doesn't sit that well with me. I still don't think that's a fix to physical damage. It's fine. But I would personally consider a physical damage rework a failure if it was a physical damage rework. I don't think it was. I think it's just new physical weapons. I do think they should consider looking at physical damage as a whole long term. Again, maybe in the vocational balance. Not sure. But yeah, physical damage at the moment not usable unless you have like a really broken weapon, which hopefully the monk one is. Hopefully it's good enough to be used as a physical damage, which I think it is. They did mention that they may still tweak some numbers even after the test server has closed. Hopefully they're not going to, because I'm quite excited to get this physical weapon on the monk because it will actually be usable, which will be great. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, this video has gone long enough. Sorry. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I think I've covered pretty much everything coming in this winter update. So yeah, let me know if you disagree with something. Let me know what you like in this update. I think it's a great update as a whole. Of course, I personally think that the weekly tasks could have had a little bit more excitement in there, maybe some rerolling functionality. Maybe this physical damage could have been done a little bit better, but ultimately loads and loads and loads of great feature. I'm really looking forward to the bounty tasks, really going to be grinding those. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. And yeah, I'll be having a couple more winter update videos coming up soon. Tomorrow we'll probably have the multi-action hotkey button suggestions video coming out, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.